Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Iblis Manifestations podcast. This channel features lengthy off-limits conversations with various different artists and entrepreneurs, predominantly from the underground metal scene. We take deep dives into the topics of life, music, spirituality, and take insight from a variety of thought-provoking perspectives from personalities who you don't often hear from in a mainstream settings. I am your host, Cheyenne, and I was originally born and raised in Iran and currently reside in the UK. I am the frontman and founding member of the black death metal band TRIVAX, who have been active since 2009. The band originally started in the Islamic Republic of Iran, where such type of music is banned as well as a punishable offense. You can check the band's pages for any updates on tour dates as well as new music. I am also a personal trainer and an online fitness coach who specializes in people achieving the best versions of themselves physically and mentally. Having been someone who was once extremely out of shape and overweight, I find it to be my duty to be able to pass on the information and knowledge which I've gained to help others achieve the same transformation. The Iblis Manifestations podcast also features a variety of solo episodes where I discuss personal experiences and anecdotes in a very candid fashion, covering everything from mental health, spirituality, philosophy, and even paranormal experiences. This is the Iblis Manifestations podcast. To support it, be sure to subscribe to the channel and visit the link in the descriptions.
It's great talking to you, Cheyenne, really. And best of luck to your endeavors with this podcast. I think it's a great initiative.
You're my favorite person to talk to for interviews and stuff. So I love what you're espousing out here. I love the knowledge and the perspectives that you're curating through this, and I'm just so honored to be a part of it. Thank you.
As I told you, it was one of the most interesting interviews I've ever had, because we talk a lot more things than just music, and I really appreciated that.
I respect you deeply, and it's an honor to be here.
And friends, remember as always, better to die on your feet than to live on your knees. Enjoy the podcast. There we go. Okay, Helin from Magick, welcome to Iblis Manifestations. It's a real pleasure to have you on the podcast. How are you doing tonight?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really good. What about you?
Yeah, I'm doing great actually. I've been just listening to your album that our mutual friend Connor from Apocalyptic Witchcraft kindly sent over to me, and I'll be honest with you. Okay, I hadn't heard of you guys. And then he sends me the details about you guys. And the first line is, anti-Islamic, all-female black metal band from Turkey. And immediately I was like, whoa, fuck, sign me up. And then I listened to the music and then it was like, oh, fuck, this is literally perfect. This is exactly the kind of spirit that I love and adore about black metal. It's the kind of spirit that got me into it to begin with. So I guess the important question there would be, how did you guys even get started? You know, like, how did you even start getting into this music? That's always the first question for a lot of people when they hear people of, I should say, our neck of the woods getting into black metal. It's like, what was your introduction to it? How did you even start?
Actually, I had a bit short background of making music process. Like, I started in 2022. By myself with a solo project named Crawling at first. Mm-hmm. And then I met with my bandmate Necrosanctus, and she was really good, and we became really good friends, and she was playing the guitar also, but never been in a band before. And she was interested in some subjects like spells, magic, and rituals, and also her family was experiencing some metaphysical experiences. And once she was telling me about one of them, like called so-called ash spell, and the name came into my mind, like Ash Magick would be a great black thrash band, like very fast-paced, like some with speed metal. But as we began, our sound evolved to roll black metal, actually, and I think that fits perfectly for us because our teams are just more suitable with roll black metal. I guess it's better now.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, you're talking about raw black metal. That's kind of a spectrum in itself. The direction that you guys have gone is like the far end of the spectrum. Like it is fucking raw. It's like that Gordon Ramsay meme almost. But no, it's great, and that's a compliment. I hope that's clear. Yeah, of course. Because the thing is, I mean, I'm just so fascinated by you guys already. You talk about, okay, two girls, and from my understanding as well, you're both fairly young as well, there's so many different things you could be doing. You could be saying, let's do some pop covers of, I don't know, Taylor Swift or some shit like that. Or you could, if you're cool, you could say, we're going to do some like thrash metal covers. You guys went like all the way to the deep end, so I'm interested, like how did you personally discover black metal? How did you like what were your own first impressions even that made you want to go into this direction?
Like I was being in this type of music, like I don't know, since forever. When I was a kid, I loved to listen to some new black metal bands I recently discovered, like and even that time I was really chasing the underground, and I love learning and digging and in everything, and black metal was the perfect thing to dig deep in, because as soon as you dig, you can always find something new, and that's fascinating for me. And yeah, but I had a dream, like I really wanted to release a demo, and that was my dream, and I made it. It was not really good, the first one, but as soon as I released it, I didn't want to give up and just let it go, and I wanted to keep moving on, because I just realized that I found a way to express myself, my feelings and my anger to anything else, and it was really perfect to express my feelings this way, in a form of art, and in a form of violent art, in my opinion. And I think that's my background. I really do not have a long background as a musician, but I was really taking seriously before that time. Like I wasn't a casual listener of black metal. I was just taking this shit really seriously, and still I take it seriously. It's a big thing for my life, and so do my friends, and we just fit in perfectly for this project.
I love to hear that. That's, because that's the same spirit that I resonate with as well. I remember being 14, 15 years old in Iran and then hearing Behexen for the first time. And just being like, what the fuck is this? Why is this as perfect as it is? And then you just you've got no choice. You have to go all the way down and find out more about like, what's this all about? Who are these guys? You look at the Wikipedia pages and then there's only like pictures of them in robes and corpse paint. It's like, who the fuck is that guy? Like what does their life look like? And all of these things. And especially, being from a more Islamic background, those questions are like 10 times more intense, and and the fascination, I think, is even like more burning, and it's funny because in my position, you grow up and actually get to meet and even become friends with a lot of people. Some of them you think, oh, okay, you're just a normal guy. Some of them you think, okay, fuck, you really were that thing that that I expected you to be. But just going back to it, so you mentioned that you really started being like an artist of your own, at least in the context of this music, back in 2022, which is 3 years ago, not a long time ago. But I had a quick look at your metal archives, and I saw that you've been very busy in that little bit of time.
Yeah.
So tell me, what was your and I appreciate this might be a personal question, but what was your family's response to the fact that you're actually into this style of music, because again, we got to take the Islamic background into context. I don't know. I guess Turkey's a little bit more liberal, especially towards Istanbul, but there's still that fanaticism that kind of exists in there, there's still a frustration with it. So what was your experience with that?
Actually, I was lucky about my family because they really do not give a shit about Islamic or something like that. But they are almost atheists, and they didn't tell me anything. Like, I remember that when I was a child, I told my mom, like, I'm a Satanist now, and she said, okay, whatever. And I didn't really
Fair enough.
Had trouble with them, but they don't like that I'm doing metal, and black metal. My mom always asks me, like, okay, we can understand the metal, but why black metal?
Oh man, I'm having deja vu just listening to that.
But as for the country, I wish it was just like my family does. It's a bit complicated here, because here is not really liberal and not really Muslim, and I think that's really worse than being one of them. It's something like you are in a line between the two subjects, and I think that's not really good at all. I don't know. I would prefer some clearness, but in our country we don't have it. But that's fine. And as for the reactions, I really do not want to discuss with them if they are not a good critique or something like that, because we do know what we do and what we want to represent. And actually, sometimes we are anti-Islamic, but sometimes we are just observing from a personal state, like from a Muslim's eyes. We just we love to mention psychological and metaphysical aspects of these belief systems. And at first we was anti-Islamic a bit, but we were violent, and I believe we were just more amateur than right now. And it was really fun times, and we just wanted to be extreme, like this is about black metal. But right now, I feel more like the psychological and metaphysical aspects would be more important to explain, because the team, anti-Islamic team, is also okay, but it's right now I feel like it's a bit cliche right now, and I really want to bright away and in not really sharp ways, but the right ways, if I could explain this. So we evolved a bit thematically.
That's very interesting. Yeah, well, I do appreciate and understand that on your latest album, perhaps it's a little bit more focused on magic, Ash Magick, and the more spiritual side of things, which I actually think that
emotional. Yes,
absolutely. Right. Yeah, and I'm very fascinated in that side of things. But I could almost make the argument, well, not the argument, but simply the point that the fact that as women you are singing about these things, that's already very anti-Islamic in itself, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, yeah. The fact that you're even playing this music, I mean, in Iran, like women aren't even allowed to sing because of the religion. You know, they're not allowed to ride bicycles. They're not allowed to attend football stadiums. They're not allowed to leave the country without the formal consent of a partner or a father. You know, and I think that's absolutely fucking atrocious. You know, and then there comes all the mandatory hijab laws, which I've been against ever since I was a kid. You know, and there's a lot of discussions to be had within that, you know, and I find it infuriating. You know, it actually. I'll be honest with you. You know, we can talk quite honestly here. It baffles me that in today's world, 2 billion people of the population of the Earth still even identify with this bullshit religion. You know, it's completely nonsensical to me, you know, and I think that's part of the reason why I think you're actually a very important person to have on this podcast, because I'm someone who's always been screaming off the rooftops about this, but I think it's important to hear our perspective, your and mine's perspective, from the countries that we come from, you know, where we just want to play music and feel empowered and feel good by it, you know, just like you guys are now. And part of that is a process of self-exploration, but it's a religion that it doesn't even allow for that, you know. So if you can't have that, then you're simply like basically a prisoner for the rest of your life. And I think it's you know, I don't know, it just baffles me, you know. And I think we should normalize Islamophobia. You know, like people add different meanings to that word, and they conflate the meaning of religion and race. But I think, you know, the term normalize Islamophobia, I think that's where we should be headed.
Yeah, I really agree with you. It's
right on.
Really nonsense.
I'd like to quickly interrupt this episode for the following message. My band TRIVAX will be releasing our third full-length album, The Great Satan, via the legendary Osmos Productions on the 30th of May, 2025. If you're into extreme metal that's unapologetically defiant, politically and religiously charged, and unafraid to make bold statements where other ways shy away, then you need to hear this album. I would say that musically, The Great Satan blends dark ritualistic Middle Eastern elements with traditional folk and very dynamic usage of the extreme metal subgenres, creating a unique and immersive soundscape. The intro track actually utilizes folk instruments, including baklama and oud, and throughout the album, you will also get the usage of 3 different languages. One, which is, of course, my native language of Farsi, or otherwise known as Persian. We also have songs that are sung in Arabic and, of course, English. The album embodies rebellion, violence, and ecstasy, unafraid to say what so many extreme metal bands will not. Copies will be available directly from the TRIVAX Bandcamp page, or otherwise from the official Osmos web store. Thank you for your support, and please enjoy the rest of the episode. There we go. So have you had any kind of particular negative experiences with religious people in your own life?
Actually, no. Not here in Istanbul, but when I was living in Gaziantep, another city here, yeah, I really experienced something like that. But I was a kid. But even that I was a kid, I was just witnessing these kinds of things at school or in public just by my shirts, and yeah, that's not good. But no, right now I live in Kadıköy, and here it's really good, and everyone has their own vision, you know, and I feel a bit safe here. But yeah, that's actually really disturbing topic to talk about. Yeah, even now, like I'm relaxed right now, but even now, yeah. And since we are a black metal band, not so many people know about us because yeah, we are underground and
not yet.
Yeah, but like, you know, the Islam people, the Muslims really do not look into underground black metal scene. I don't know why, but I think that's a good thing for now.
For sure. Well, I hope that this podcast doesn't create any troubles for you, because I definitely have some eyeballs on me. So, yeah. Yeah. Well, I listen, first and foremost, the fact that we're even having that conversation, I admire your courage. I admire your courage for the fact that you guys are making this style of music, the fact that you are kind of putting yourself out there. I appreciate this might even be the first podcast that you've done, but nevertheless, you're in the right place. I can...
Thank you so much.
I can guarantee you that. But okay then. Let's just say, because I really want to get into the religious talk a bit before we kind of move on to the other stuff. But, what is it about Islam that, you personally felt angered by enough that you had to go and at least write your first album about?
Actually, this was my bandmate's idea that she really wrote the lyrics for the first album in a poetic way. And poetic and in a rebellious way, and she was just describing the unfair situations in a really pure way, not really detailed at all. And I liked it actually, because this was really felt some spontaneous feeling, and I love that because it's really a part of creating a process. And I think the answer for this question is the unfair situations and the nonsense. And the actual reason must be the sins and the sinners and the saints between, and the inequality between these people, but they are the same. Like, we were just describing this in this way, and we were really describing hell. We could visualize hell and how we burn in hell and how we like it very much, rather than going to heaven. Right on. But I don't know what triggered her really much. But I think that's a great way to start to express your anger towards the God or whatever it is, I think the unfair situations would be the great answer to this, but not really detailed, I know, but...
Yeah, the unfairness of it. Well, that's, I think that's an easy observation to make, actually, and I can maybe assist you a little bit on that. You want to think about things that are unfair, just think about the apostate laws, okay? So you can, even if you're born a Muslim, if you choose to exit, your blood is still halal, as they call it, so they can kill you for that. That was the first thing that when I was like maybe 14 years old, when I heard that, in religious class, I thought, but that doesn't really sound right. So you're, if someone's born into the religion and then you're gonna kill him for wanting to exit, that person had no choice into what they were born in. But then they're like, oh no, well, they brought shame upon Islam. Where it's like, if your ideology is so fucking fragile that it can't stand one person leaving the club, I don't think your ideology belongs to the modern world as far as I'm concerned, or any world, not even the ancient world. Yeah. Yeah, so it's one of those things. And then you also want to talk about the treatment of women. You want to talk about all sorts of different things. I think it's, like all things, if I want to play the devil's advocate or if I want to play Allah's advocate, I would say that, maybe it has some good points. Sure, yeah, don't steal, don't lie, don't do terrible things to people. But also at the same time, it's all the other extra shit that comes with it, that I just feel like doesn't belong in today's world, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. The worst of all is the fact that you have to think the same way that I think. You know what I mean? When they say that, because Islam's very preachy. If it was something that was small and private and it was just to themselves, it'd be one thing. But they're extremely preachy about it, and they're literally trying to outpopulate the rest of the world.
Yeah, I really cannot understand this. And I'm strictly, I really cannot understand this type of belief. And Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's like saying, oh, it would be the same as you turning around and saying, oh, if you don't listen to raw black metal, then you deserve to die, basically.
Yeah, that's almost like fascism and something like that.
It is Islamofascism. That's the reason why it's called that. Yeah.
Once we formed the band, and we were just looking for some words to describe our band, and I remember that we wrote like we are glad that we are going to burn in hell with you, and something like that. And we were really into this anti-Islamic theme at the first album.
Yeah, well, that's very sweet. You said something earlier that I thought about earlier, and I just remembered, and I wanted to mention it to you. You said that your bandmate had some, as you put it, metaphysical experiences in her family that led her to believe certain things. I'm dying to hear about this. What happened there?
Like they found some spells in their house. And she was describing what they were to me when the ash magic came into my mind, and the ash spell. She found a seal. No, her aunt, I guess, found a seal in one of the rooms, I guess. And when she opened it, there were so many ashes inside it. And they were really terrified about this one. And she was telling me this with really excited, face. And it was terrifying to hear that also. But I was really into the metal way of this. And
so her auntie found a seal, as you said, and then there was a bunch of ash there.
Yeah, inside.
Okay.
And some Arabic writings. I don't know. I think it's a spell or something like that. Yes.
That's very interesting. So was anything else happening? Was it just the simple fact that they found this thing there?
They were always having night terrors, the whole family, and they were. Hearing some voices at night. I don't know, so many things like that. One time she saw a woman in her dream, but in a hijab, but in a really dark green color, and some corpses and something like that. It was really terrifying, and we were really taking some notes to make some tracks about it.
As you do, of course. Yeah. That's super interesting. Wow. Okay. And then when they found this thing, did the night terrors, did they stop, or did they still happen, or what was the conclusion of that?
I think no, it didn't stop. As soon as I remember, but
oh, great!
I think they throw away this shit, and I think that's when it stopped. As soon as I remember.
Also, it did stop after they threw that thing away.
Yeah.
Right, because you're supposed to burn it. If you find something like that, you need to burn it and then make sure it doesn't have a home after it's burnt.
Yeah, I really don't know much about these rituals, but she really knows.
Yeah. I'm always fascinated with this kind of stuff, because I was always kind of prior to 2016, I would refer to myself as a paranormal agnostic. Okay, that's a label I just came up with on the spot, but it's true. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, no, I was just like, I was just open-minded, kind of like, well, I've never seen anything, even though I was just kind of pushing it to the back of my mind. I was just kind of like, yeah, this is not, I will believe it when I see it. And then I went through a whole week of seeing it and feeling it and hearing it, and then I was like, okay, yeah, shit, I'm a believer. There's no way I can ignore this anymore. You know, it was I talked about it on the first episode of the podcast, but it was a flat I went to with my partner at the time. This is like 9 years ago now, 2016. We were there from we got the keys on 2nd of June, which was Friday, and then 3rd of June, Saturday, till 10th of June, Saturday, we were there. And then 11th of June, in the middle of the morning, we had to run away from the place, basically. And yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. Yeah, I think I found this pair of iron dumbbells in the wardrobe when we first moved in, and an old picture of New York with the Twin Towers still standing. So it was pre 9/11. So clearly an old picture by that time. Okay. So at least 15 years old, 15, 16, maybe even 17 years old by that point. Anyway, I felt really weird about it. I'm like, we've just rented the flat unfurnished. Why is all this shit left here? So I kind of moved it to the other corner, and I'm pretty sure whoever they belonged to was not happy with me, because every night I would go to sleep, I would have this shadowy figure just come on top of the bed, like hovering above me and then just bending down, like looking at me. And sometimes you would maybe see little things, but if I closed my eyes, I could actually see a face. That was the craziest part. And then I tried to later depict the face to the artist who did the first TRIVAX album cover, and it's that purple face that's on our first album. That's the face of the ghost I kept seeing. The difference is, on the album cover, the ghost is smiling, or the purple face is smiling. When I was there, that thing was not smiling. It was very unhappy with me. It just kept like looking at me with like a really sad, angry face.
That's really terrifying to hear.
Yeah, it was. It was. It really was. But the thing is, Helin, like it got fucking crazy. Like every time we would leave the flat, whether it was for 5 minutes or 5 hours, the fuse and the electricity would go off. Okay, so it was very weird. But it would only happen if you left the flat, and it would never happen if you were there. If you were there for like a whole day and didn't go out, the electricity would stay on. But as soon as you left, the electricity would switch itself off completely, and you had to redo the fuse every time you walk back in. And then in the last 2 days, we were having weirder stuff happen, like boxes moving around the flat. Like I would like leave something on the table, and then the two of us would leave together, and then when we would come back in, that box was like in the kitchen, and stuff like that, you know, magnet doors opening and closing and us watching it happen. I heard this woman talking a gibberish language right next to me, and I thought it was like a phone or the laptop, but there was nothing there. It was just like random gibberish sound talking at us on the last day. And when it got really angry on the last night, every room that you went to, a weird smell that was like kind of like sulfur. It was like a cross between sulfur and, you know, when you got like a food bin or like trash that smells bad, like bad food. You wouldn't smell it immediately, but every time you walked into a room, eventually that smell would like follow you. It was very weird, very, very weird. I had night terrors for like years after that, actually. I would wake up screaming in the middle of the night for quite a few years afterwards. So it was...
That's such an experience.
Yeah, wow. It was pretty fucked up.
Yeah, I felt really sorry for you. Like, that's really horrible.
I have... thank you. I think we always experience things in life for a reason.
But that's an inspiration for you, I guess, a bit, you know?
Not only inspiration. Yes, you are right. But I would say not only inspiration, it changed my entire outlook on existence, you know? Not even life, but existence. It made me change how I look at everything, you know? You know, because all things considered, despite, you know, my stance on particular religions, I still believe in a higher power. I absolutely do. And, you know, in parallel to that as well, I wouldn't say more importantly, because that's kind of like the pinnacle of importance in my life at this point. But very importantly, it also made me just reobserve how I look at human life. how I look at people, how I look at my connections to people, you know, and also how I project myself out into the world, you know, realizing everything is energy. So when you're talking, when you're performing, even when you're doing vocals, you're projecting this energy out into the world and manipulating reality. So those were amongst the things that I learned from that experience. So ultimately, as horrible as it was, I actually am very grateful for it, you know?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Or otherwise, I'll just be scared for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you had any paranormal experiences like that yourself?
Yeah, a bit. But mine was never really terrifying at all. Just like lights go off, or sometimes I really hear some voices, like someone's walking at the top of the roof, but no one is there. Like, and something.
Classic.
Yeah, that's some classics, and not really terrifying at all. But the sounds and the the nightmares are really terrifying. But I think that's not really intense at all, like comparing to yours. No.
No, but I'm still curious to hear because, one thing I think that maybe we have in common, I think there's maybe a little bit more superstition also in countries like Iran and Turkey, but also at the same time, there's a lot of very strong folklore and legends of things happening. And I don't think these sort of things start for no reason either.
Yeah, actually, this is our upcoming album's theme at all, like Rituals of Anathematic East. And I really wanted to describe these things because I think this has a vision. And I also, we had lots of researches about the local people in Mardin. We went to Mardin at first. We didn't have any idea about this new album at all. And then we were really inspired by those places, and like forgotten cemeteries and old ruins and mystical architecture there, and the mosque there, or like there's lots of traditions and lots of people there, like mixed cultures, like Syriacs and Arabs and Kurdish people and a bit of Turkish people, and I think that's really interesting because they are really blending in some elements like spells and occult themes. And when we had some research, we really found so many things that we could use in this album. Like when we went to a museum there, and I bought a book about the death rituals of Syriac people in Mardin, and this book really led the way the album to take shape, and we really we wrote so many lyrics from that book, and it was really fascinating to learn about the death rituals that these people do, and it's really interesting. Like the Eastern has a really strong and intense belief and act of spells and something like that, and it's really interesting. Like we have in Turkey, like there are so many horror movies, including jinns and something like that, and they are always in the eastern cities there, and I think that's interesting. Like they are in villages mostly, and there are some like witches. I don't know what to tell about it, but like witches or some old women performing some rituals and something like that. hymns and sacred chants and ancient doctrines and the power of the belief they really into, and this is really interesting for us. And we also talked the local people there, and we also find some documents about the local people has witnessed some creatures like jinns or something like that, and describing what they look like. And we really did some really good research, and I realized that there are really, really endless, limitless material that we could use in this album. And that's really amazing.
Hey, just a quick moment of your time. For the past 3 years, Iblis Manifestations has been entirely self-funded. This means that every subscription fee, every piece of equipment, all of the travel expenses have come out of my own pocket. Over time, people have asked me how they can support the podcast, and to be honest with you, up until now, the answer's been pretty straightforward, and that is simply spread the word. But now, there's another way. I have set up a Patreon account where followers of the podcast will be able to make monthly donations to the podcast, and this will help cover the costs of streaming gear and basically everything else that goes into making this show. This isn't about making a profit, and to be completely honest, it's not about breaking even either, because that's certainly not been the case for the last 3 years. However, if you do find value in the conversations that we're having on this podcast and wish to help them forward, then you can now support the show. Just head to the link in description and hit the Patreon button. In addition to that, be sure to check out the Iblis Manifestations Big Cartel page, where we will be selling exclusive merchandise for the podcast. At the moment, we got the Extreme Podcast for Extreme People t-shirts, limited to only 30 copies, and the pre-orders will be sent out from the 1st of July, so the link for that is in the description. And in the future, the Big Cartel page will also include some occult accessories and jewelry, which will be handcrafted by myself. And we will also be selling merch and records by other bands as Iblis will expand into a label of its own. And, of course, it goes without saying, thank you for supporting Iblis Manifestations. It is much appreciated. For sure. So what are some of the... it's fascinating. We absolutely have that interest in common, by the way. But you were talking about some of like the dark or like rituals and things like that they were doing. Do you remember specifically some of the examples of that?
Yeah, of course. One of our songs, I think the first song after the intro, the Kneeling Wretch is describing a ritual TRIVAX make with an oil named Candela. And we learned it from the book of the Death Rituals book, and they just do it for purging and for like for purging and begging for mercy before going to the other world, like to heaven or something like that. And they just put the oil to their forehead and their knees, and they have to kneel down, and that's why the song's name is The Kneeling Wretch, because
okay,
and
got it.
One of it's done, and one of the lyrics about as we have read in the book, for the resurrection one have to wait for 9 years. Like in their belief, it has to pass 9 years for a resurrection and for the soul to get free, I guess, to break.
Okay, so to pass the limbo, essentially, yeah?
Yeah, that's correct. Yes, and as soon as I remember, we really mentioned and told these stories, and we are also I can say that we are all actually some storytellers in Ash Magick, because we like to research and describe whatever we want to describe, but we also want to create some poetic approach to it, and we like to made up some stories either. Like when our first album, there's a track named "The Witch," and it describes the execution of a woman accused of witchcraft and capturing her final moments and her resistance before death. But we made this up, but we know that this has actually happened, but we really love to create some stories and tell about.
That's good. That's a great testament to your creativity, you know, and obviously I can appreciate it comes from a place of genuine curiosity as well. Or just a quick question there as well. So are any of your lyrics online anywhere? Because I couldn't find them when I was looking before.
No, but we want to add the lyrics to the booklet by the end of August for our upcoming release, because they're really good, I think. Yeah, I like the lyrics in that album.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, I look forward to being able to hear them. By the way, if you're interested into that kind of stuff, I can make you a recommendation. There's a page on Instagram called Iranian Myths. Okay. I think it's Iranian _myths. It's super interesting. There's like, I think there's like 500,000 posts on there and whatever, but on there, like each post is about like an ancient kind of folklore creature or whatever, or like a spirit or deity in Iranian folklore, and there are so fucking many of them. I didn't know that there was this many of them to begin with, and they all have super cool names, you know. So if you want influence for like songs, and if you want to tap into that realm, the whole page is just super interesting stuff that you can look into. Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah. No, I just picked up the we're into the same stuff, you know, so if you want to check that out, you know, I'd highly recommend it. But yeah, so just coming back into Ash Magick in general, do you think that, because I understand it's just the two of you and you're both doing mainly guitars, and then you're kind of just using a bit of like programming and whatnot for the drums, would you ever envision the band actually performing live at any point?
Actually, yes. We really want to perform live, and I really believe that with some dedication, it's not impossible, and it would be really good to perform live, because I think this band is really fits on stage, right? You know, as for thematically and for the music is also, I think, would be great to perform live, and I have been really working hard to sing while I play, because I couldn't do it back then. But recently, I really can do that right now with practicing. It's really not impossible, and we have some plans to perform live. Actually, I was not really interested at the beginning, like in 2022, but I was just like we can just record something and then publish it and then keep moving on. But my bandmates really wanted to perform live, and then we have received some offerings to perform, and that was really good. It made me really happy, and I really got excited and start working, and that's great. But I have to find some people to work with. You know, we don't have a drummer right now. Like we have to find someone to play bass, and okay, I can find them, but we have to practice really like thousands of times, not thousands of times, but hey, we have to practice, because that's a bit dedication, discipline, and we have to be synchronized, and these are really important, and I take it really seriously right now. And yes, as for this question, I can answer that yes, we have plans to perform live.
Yeah, so it's just a case of finding the right drummer then, really. That's basically what it comes down to. I don't think you made it easy for yourself with some of the drum patterns that you wrote, though, I will say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's every guitarist.
And sorry, and this in this album, I accidentally delete all the projects of Ash Magick last year, and we had some songs and they were gone, and I was really disappointed about this situation because it was about me and my fault. It was my fault, and I was really hesitating to tell her that yeah, I messed everything up. But when I told her, she didn't got angry at all, and she said, "Okay, no problem." And I said, "I have to fix this," and I wrote all the tracks in this album completely, and it's really better, I think, because when time passed and the old ones were gone, I thought that okay, now we have to do a better version of these tracks, and you have to upgrade everything, like the drumming, like the tempo of the tracks, and the everything. You have to do it in the best way because they are gone, and you have to improve and prove yourself to her, and
that's really really interesting, and she's obviously a very good friend. You know who else that happened to, by the way? Don't know if you knew this. Chuck Schuldiner from Death, Scream Bloody Gore. The original recordings for that, I think, were either lost or they were so bad they had to re-record the album. So if you listen to Scream Bloody Gore, that's the second recording of the album. Yeah. So yeah, and it's obviously sounds great, and maybe that was a good opportunity for you to revisit the songs. Let's see, okay, how can we make this better? How can we make this more powerful? So maybe that worked in your favor. If anything, luckily you had an understanding friend. Maybe you went through a bit of a stressful moment there when you found out what had happened. But yeah, and you know what? Just going back to the live thing, if I can help with introducing you to anyone down there, you're already a part of the scene yourself, but I'm connected also very much to the Iranian people who are in Turkey, so I can...
Next Karnis you mentioned.
Who is that, sorry?
Next Karnis. Here we have a band, Iranian band named Next Karnis. Have you heard of them?
Yeah, I actually don't know those guys, but I do know a whole bunch of other people there, so people who I've actually personally played with like many years ago in Iran as well. So I can always make recommendations and whatnot if you like, and then hopefully when you guys are ready to play live, maybe we can do a TRIVAX and Ash Magick show in Istanbul. How does that sound?
Amazing, really. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
great.
I would be up for that. I think the local mosque will probably be quite unhappy with us, but I say we do it anyway. There we go.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Amazing, Helin. But it's absolutely my pleasure, and it's such a pleasure to talk to you on the podcast. Total respect to you and what you're doing. Is there anything that is any kind of like last things that you want to share with the audience? Any kind of plugs or anything like that for Ash Magick? Anything you want people to check out? Obviously you've got the new album coming up, so this is your moment to kind of plug that, if you will.
Yeah, there will be a release under Apocalyptic Witchcraft Recordings this year by the end of the August, and I think it's going to be great. And if you're into these types of elements like we have mentioned, I really recommend you to listen to our work. And thank you so much. Absolutely.
And I will second that. Highly recommend people to go and check out Ash Magick. It's pretty fucking violent, it's pretty raw, it's dark, and it's heavy. The intro track alone will catch your attention from all the prayer effects and the reverb and everything that you guys got in there, So highly recommend you people to go and check out these guys. Helin, once again, thank you so much for your time. And by the way, also, sorry, I'm just talking so much here, but just to add a little bit as well, I think you have, based on what you told me earlier, I understand that there were maybe some little disagreements, but 100% you have very good parents, okay? And I think that you should be grateful for them. It's great that they are supportive in the way that they are, even if they might not understand the black metal part. I think
Yeah.
you're very lucky in that
No,
way.
I'm not expecting them to understand, really. Sometimes I cannot understand myself. Yeah, thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I'm really grateful for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Teşekkür ederim. And to everyone else who's been listening, hope you guys enjoyed this one. See you on the next episode of Iblis Manifestations. Bye-bye.